What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to talk about The Assessment. It starts right now. You're being assessed. This movie has audio description, which is one of the reasons I wanted to review it. It's a 2025 release. It stars Elizabeth Olsen, Himesh Patel, and Alicia Vikander. It's science fiction, and I don't think that many people have seen it. Click like and subscribe, and we're going to talk about The Assessment. All right, so The Assessment finds a couple that has applied for the rights to have a baby, and they're being assessed by the assessor. It's a pretty simple concept. Obviously, it takes place in some sort of dystopian future where we're in a situation where we have to apply to somebody to have a baby. And it slowly explains that as the movie progresses, tackling sort of the reason why we're in this situation and climate change. And on the plus side, we figured out how to sort of like live forever. We created a drug that allows us to live forever, but it also suppresses the ability to reproduce. So we don't have billions upon billions upon billions of people living forever, presumably. So we live in these sort of controlled dome structures that we try to keep them pure and safe and lovely and livable. And within those, we have, I guess the privileged remaining, and those people would like to be able to have a kid. So there are a lot of advances in terms of like synthetics and virtual alternatives that people have created. Himesh Patel's character actually is working on, he has like a chimpanzee that he's working on, trying to make lifelike, realistic. So everybody's trying to figure out ways of, there's a mention of, there's a story about a dog in here, and there's a mention of having a virtual pet, and how it's just not the same as being able to actually touch and hold a dog, like just completely different things. There's politics are briefly brought up in the assessment with regards to Elizabeth Olsen's mother was shipped off to like a camp for being like a political dissident when she was young, and she and her sister, I guess, were left to fend for themselves, as it were. So you get kind of the shape of this world as you move through it, but it's really about these three people and this weird assessment that they have to go through. It's over the course of 7 days, but it feels like a lifetime. Not necessarily because of the runtime of the movie. It just feels like a lifetime. It feels like they've been there longer than 7 days. It's amazing what you can get accomplished in 7 days. So, Alicia Vikander's character comes in, and they don't really know what the assessment is, what the rules are, what the games are, like how, what are the parameters. But basically they have to cater to whatever the assessor's needs are, which as soon as you hear that, is going to become instantly problematic, which it does. So it's her job, I guess, to manifest what it would be like to be a little child. So Alicia Vikander runs around acting like a toddler the whole time, refusing to eat her food, food fighting. If her parents leave her sort of alone in a room for too long, she'll destroy things, like that kind of thing. Even though she's a grown woman, and they keep thinking that she has the ability to not do these things because it's just for her, she's just play acting, and none of this is real. So she doesn't have to necessarily destroy the entire house. She can choose not to. She can choose to do a different type of no. She's going to choose to purposefully be the worst representation of a child possible, to challenge Elizabeth Olsen and Himesh Patel's characters with parenthood. Um, so lots of things happen. She plays around with relationships, and she ends up sort of taking more towards Patel's character than Olsen's character. So Olsen feels frustrated all the time, is trying to connect, and they're putting up with this constant barrage of bullshit so that they can connect with a child. There's some stuff that, without spoiling, that Vikander does that I felt was a little bit of a stretch, especially considering she then holds it against them, because the whole time that she's an adult, and there are things like every once in a while that she brings up. The assessor has the you know final decision, or the assessor has, she reminds them that she is still the assessor every once in a while, and when she does that, it's sort of like saying, my rules, play by my rules. So there's a valid argument with something that she does that sort of changes the direction of the film, where she does actually do that, and then she sort of pretends like she doesn't, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating until the film sort of manifests the finale, until because the film kind of plays out long enough that you get a sense of the larger world and an understanding of why choices were made. So I think that's why it works, because if it ended sort of frustratingly at a certain point without resolution, it would just be this sort of nothing burger of a movie. But it offers a surprising amount of resolution, possibly a little bit too much. I didn't like the last scene of the film, the last minute of the film. I felt like it was just maybe a little step too far in terms of storytelling. We kind of had wrapped it up. I don't think I would have gone quite to the lengths of making a choice at the end of the film that they make. But other than that, I was actually really impressed with the assessment. I know not everybody has been, but it reminded me sort of like, I don't know, like an episode of Black Mirror, or maybe something like Alex Garland would have followed up Ex Machina with. It feels like it's an intelligent science fiction thriller piece. It's not really a horror movie. There's something here that is grotesque or violent or anything like that. It's strictly science fiction, and it's more of like a thought piece than it is necessarily a thriller too. It's what would you be willing to go through and put up with for a child at the end of the day, and the arguments and all those different kinds of things. So the performances are strong. None of them are necessarily Academy Award winner worthy, but they're all good performances. These are three strong actors giving three good performances. I have no problems with that. Mostly I like the fact that the film just challenges an audience to think on any level, and doesn't just spoon feed ideas, and pushes back on the, would I do this? When would I stop? Like, would you stop it? Because they only have one shot at the assessment. Like, they're told that as soon as they answer it, that all assessors, the assessor's final judgment is, that's it, and then you get the one shot. So if it's a yes or a no, well, if it's a yes, you get the kid. If it's a no, you can't like challenge it or reapply against it. So once you're in it, you're in it. And if you say no and you back out, then you're basically saying, I can't do this. I don't want a child. So the fact that you're willing to submit yourself to 7 days of this is sort of like a heavy commitment to a child, because that's what, you can't just get a child and then be like, nah, never mind. I didn't realize that what this was. That's what they're trying to theoretically avoid, you would think. But I think the film goes in a more interesting path than that. So I like the movie. The audio description is fine. I got like UK audio description. It was British, so it was fine. It didn't completely blow me away, but it hit all of the little visual cues that you would need in order to put the movie together. it benefits heavily from the fact that for most of the movie, except for like a dinner party sequence where a couple of friends come over, um, it's three people and it's 90% inside this house or like in there just outside of it. You know what I'm saying? Like on their property. So the locations are limited and they're reused a lot, they're recycled a lot. Uh, so it becomes not that difficult of a movie to describe. Like I said, it's not violent or gory, so there isn't really that to describe. Um, it's not scary. There's nothing jump scares or anything like that that's going to happen. It is a little weird at times. There's a little bit of sex, so it has some interesting things, but most of it is very just sort of capturing what Alicia Vikander is putting out into the world at any time as Virginia. That's her character's name, and you know, capturing the idea of a grown woman pretending to be like 3 or 4 or whatever age range she has in her mind when she's food fighting and whining and doing all these other things. So it doesn't go all the way, and I kind of appreciate it because after seeing that abysmal movie, The Front Room, last year, I'm glad we didn't, nobody changes her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't, thank God. They didn't make Alicia Vikander, like, shit herself and go through that whole thing and be like, oh, God. I thought about that. I was like, oh, are we going to do this? Is somebody going to have to change her? Is this going to be The Front Room? No, thank God. All right, so we stayed away from that. So she's at some age where she doesn't have to fully debase herself to the lowest possible extent in order to prove a point or whatever it is she's trying to do. But she does go pretty extreme on several accounts and issues, and a lot of permanence to the things that she does and the choices that she makes. So I recommend The Assessment. I liked it. It's not perfect. It's maybe slightly flawed, but it's definitely a film that I'll remember at the end of the year because it feels like it challenged me in a different way and pushed and pulled and wasn't just trying to, I don't know, fall off of the Jason Statham kick, punch, shoot, repeat bandwagon of films that we get where, I don't know, we get so many films with a man with a particular set of skills, nowadays, or comic book movies or sequels or reboots or remakes or Jesus. So no, it's not like any of those. There's the originality here, and the approach and the style is what I appreciate. And like I said, it feels like watching Ex Machina for the first time is the closest that I can give is how I felt sort of watching that, which interestingly is Alicia Vikander, but that's not why I feel that way. It just kind of feels that way. It feels like a thought piece more than anything else. Even Ex Machina pulls more into the horror genre than this does. So if you have a chance to check The Assessment out with audio description, I would recommend it. I'm going to give The Assessment an A-. I liked it. I'm probably one of the only few who did, but that's okay. We don't all have to be the same. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the other side.